There are 5 main bottlenecks to growth inside any size business. And to understand these bottlenecks, we need to actually understand the cycle that happens with our clients, the client's journey working with our business. So these 5 areas of interaction that happens is number 1, when your clients or your potential clients become aware that you exist, that you are a business that can solve a problem, and that problem is a problem that they have, and becoming aware that problem even exists in the world as well, and that you are the person that solves it. So that is brand awareness. And that is the key to anybody discovering who we are, is they have to become aware of who we are. Then yes, we want to nurture them and be front of mind and build that know and trust factor inside our business, so that you are the first person that comes to mind when they're like, I have this problem. I know the perfect person who can help me solve this. So the next area is when somebody indicates that they are interested in what you do. So it actually comes from the client's point of view when they raise their hand and say, yes, I'm a lead. I want something to happen. And if that is signing up to a freebie that you offer, or if that is filling out a quote form on your website, or if that is picking up the phone and ringing somebody, or if that is sending an email or even sending a DM, they are indicating interest by your ideal audience. They might not be ready to buy just yet, but they're thinking about it. Or they are at least aware that you are in their peripheral and you've piqued an interest for them. And so we want to nurture that so that they are at the point that they're ready to hand over money. So that conversion point is the next bottleneck. That conversion is the sale, and asking for the sale, and overcoming any objections or any questions that they might have. They'll do a little bit of research on your website. They might do some stalking on your social media. They'll go and see if there's some social proof, reviews perhaps, to see whether this person actually does perform what they say they will and will get the results that I'm looking for. So a little bit of stalking happens in the background, and your website is a really good vehicle to help do this, but it could happen in a webinar, it could happen in a sales call, it could happen at a talk at the front of a conference. There's lots of different sales vehicles that we can utilize in our business, but that is the conversion point, when someone is ready to sign on the dotted line, that they have decided, it's the decision that they want to work with you. The next point is the handing over of cash. Now, in some cases, that happens at the end, after all your services have been delivered, or the product that you offer has been made and it's sitting on a shelf ready to be purchased. That can happen, either the cash is next or the delivery is next. So depending on your business, that might happen in different orders, or you might ask for a deposit up front and then you can deliver, and then you'll get the final payment at the end. That's where it can differ from business to business. But cash generally is some sort of contract is signed to promise that, yes, we will pay this money. Maybe it is a link that is sent to them. It might be your CRM, your client relationship management software, that does that on your behalf. And we want that process as smooth as possible, so it is easy for your clients to say yes, and it's easy for your clients to just hand over the money. It's not going to be a backwards and forwards, long drawn out, painful experience. It's just, yes, I've made my decision, here's the money, let's move on, let's get the product, let's get the service that I've been promised. I want the outcome, is what they're thinking at that point. The cash flow that happens now, if you are still struggling with cash flow problems, being able to pay bills, the unpredictable income, then cash flow could be the bottleneck that we're talking about here, but I'm jumping ahead. We're still going through this cycle, the client journey of handing over the money. And then the final step is delivering what you've promised, but being able to do it with delight, so that the client is so happy with what they've got. There might be a period of time, there might be resources that have to go into that, materials. It could be a service that you provide, it could be done for you, it could be courses. Anyway, like every business under the sun has some form of delivery of services of what they're paid for. And then after they've delivered, if their payments already happened, they've delivered, and then they move back through to the brand awareness, either because they want to use your services again and they need to be reminded that is still a problem that they might want you to address, or it might be an add-on service that you've answered one aspect of the problem. Now there's another problem that you can help solve that further along the journey, or it could be that they can refer you to someone else, or it could be that you can get a testimonial from them, and that testimonial you can use in your marketing to help with more brand awareness. And so that cycle can continue again, ready for the next person to realize that your services are exactly what they need. So here's where the bottlenecks come in. Somewhere in your business, one of these areas will be a bottleneck for you. And it doesn't matter what size you are. If you're a solopreneur, one of these, probably all of them will probably feel like a bottleneck, but one of them will be the weakest link, the most important bottleneck that we need to address first. And then we'll move through as you open up that bottleneck. Maybe you've got your systems and processes in place. Maybe you hire team members. Every time you open a bottleneck in one area, it will create a bottleneck somewhere else. So let's say you have a delivery or capacity issue, so you hire another person. You've immediately created the bottleneck that now we have to have the cash flow to be able to support that other person. So we need to bring in more sales. So we need to bring in more leads. So we need to create more brand awareness so that more people can come through our sales funnel, and we have increased capacity to be able to support that other person. Now you might not have a capacity problem anymore, but you might have a sales problem instead. So no matter what size of a business, you might end up building your sales capacity and then realize, now we need to hire a third person. So there'll be a new form of capacity, and it's measures as to when is that pivot point for you, when you realize that you need to bring someone in and be able to bring in more leads and increase the head of that funnel so that we can increase the demand, so that we can fill up the places and be paid for our services, of course. Now, here's where the tricky bit comes in with these bottlenecks, is so often as the leader of the business, the entrepreneur of the business, the sole trader perhaps, you find yourself constantly jumping between working on a project to when that project finishes up, we need to go and find a new project. That might be doing a whole heap more sales calls, or it might be going out and doing some more networking, trying to get in more leads, talk to more people, increase your brand awareness so that people know that you're the go-to person in your industry. And then once you've been able to drum up new work, new leads, new sales, then you have to dive back into the delivery again. So you're constantly jumping from delivery to marketing, delivery to sales, delivery to brand awareness, backwards and forwards, because you keep getting those new leads in, and you need to continue that quality of service that you've promised your clients, because it's you. It's your brand that you've been building and creating in that time. But ideally, if we can go back and look at the numbers and the cadence, and we can reverse engineer the number of leads and the number of sales that we ideally want trickling through our business, then as soon as we've finished the delivery, the next person is waiting, sitting, standing in line, because they've been through the process of having created brand awareness. They're a lead now, they've indicated their interest, they've been nurtured, they've had the sales call, they've got their money ready to hand over, and they're standing there ready for you to take it because the next lot of work has started again. So understanding that cycle is constantly going through, and we're not having to jump backwards and forwards. That is the key to making sure that we always have the leads and the demands coming through into our business, and we can deliver with excellence. We can raise our profiles, raise our reputation, and continue to grow and scale our business. No matter what level we're at, we'll always have a new bottleneck, and we can address that bottleneck through scaling our systems and our processes and our people. And then we grow our business and create a greater impact. And that's what it's all about. So that is our 5 bottlenecks. I'll see you soon.